Hello folks, well today we've just got a very quick installation video of these. These are the handlebar muffs from Italian manufacturer Tucano Urbano, and we are going to be fitting them to my BMW R1250GS, and these handlebar muffs should also fit these bikes as well. Nippy Normans actually sent me the handlebar muffs free of charge for me to do an installation video. So I'm going to put a link in the description down below. Click on that. That will whisk you all the way to the Nippy Normans website, where you can have a look at the handlebar muffs. And the current price, as I'm recording this video now, is about £64. So before we crack on then, these are the handlebar muffs actually fitted to my BMW R1250GS. Muffs are not for everyone. I get that, but if you are a year-round motorcyclist riding in the cold and the rain, then there's nothing worse than having cold, wet hands, which potentially will affect your control of your bike. You can try wearing thick winter gloves. Personally, not a fan of the thick winter gloves, as I find them just a little bit too bulky, and I just don't like the feel that they give you. You can also try using heated gloves, but these can be quite expensive and potentially still bulky, and potentially they still may get wet. If you are a hardened motorcyclist and you have to use your bike through the colder and the wetter months of the year, then fitting a set of handlebar muffs are going to make things certainly more comfortable for yourselves, whether you are wearing a set of bulky gloves or a set of thinner summer gloves. And I must admit, I am a fan of summer gloves year round. What are you going to get in the box? Well, you're going to get a set of instructions how to fit them. Bearing in mind, these aren't BMW GS specific. They fit a number of different brands of motorcycle. So you're going to get a set of instructions, and basically you don't need to know what's in those instructions really. You're going to get an assembly kit, and yeah, you don't need to use that at all. And then you're going to get a pair of handlebar muffs. Here's one of the handlebar muffs, and this is the one that would go on the right hand side. So it's made of a kind of a plasticky material, so it is waterproof. It's got that sort of dimple texture on there, a little bit of branding, Tucano Urbano, and some nice red stitching. So yeah, it's semi-rigid, so it's going to keep its shape as you're riding along. So there is a hole in the side, and that's where your bar ends go through to secure it to the end of the handlebars. And then you've got a inspection window, clear window for you to look at your switch gear. And then on the underside there is, it looks like that's a little bit of metal in there actually, so just to keep things rigid. And then you've got some Velcro straps which you then wrap around your handlebar, and that will keep everything nice and secure. And then you've got the gaiter here, which then wraps around your mirror stalk. Looking at the inside then, so you've got a drawstring here to close it, and when you pop your hand in there like that, and then I don't know if you can see in there, but it is made of some kind of soft material just to aid some insulation, I guess, and that is pretty much the inside of it, but it's all nicely made. And then the left one is pretty identical really. I fitted these last week and I rode around for a couple of days with them on in the dry weather, I have to say. So I found there's a couple of ways to fit them. So the first way is going to be the quickest way to fit them. So you wake up one morning, yeah, it's absolutely chucking it down outside, you've got a long run, you don't want your hands to get wet or cold if it's in the colder months of the year. So just take your handlebar muff. You don't have to undo the bar end weights, or for the second method we're going to have to take the hand guard off. But yeah, just take the handlebar muff and then just feed it through over the guard. There we go. Just make sure you don't snag any switches, just take your time, and then just feed it over your switch cluster. There we go, that's on, and yeah, that looks sensible. It's tidy, and this is really quick. It's going to take you about a minute to do it. And then just secure the Velcro with the gaiter there, and then you've got those two Velcro straps, and then just secure them down. That'll stop things blowing around in the wind. And then the second one, and that is pretty much secure. And then just make sure that you're not snagging any of the switches, which you're not. So that's the first method. The downside to that one is obviously if you're parked up, somebody can come along and whip it off the bike. And they don't say that's an approved method, but it works for me actually. And the only thing is the hole in the side here where the bar end weight should actually go through is actually about 1.5 inches forward of the actual end of the handlebar where the bar end weight is. But that is an option you can do. That will get that on there very quickly in about a minute or so, and you've got full access to all the controls. Maybe the controls on the top just a little bit awkward to get to, but I can get to the cruise control, the hazards, the lights, and my auxiliary light switch as well. And obviously with the handguard there, you've got the Velcro straps here, and you've got the bracing bar underneath. That's not going to fall off, so you'll be okay riding at speed with that on. And then you've got the drawstring as well. Pull the drawstring, pop your hand in there. Yeah, it should be good. And then you can look through the viewing window to see where your fingers are. So that would be the first method. Takes a minute, and do the same for the other side. And I've just installed the right hand one, and as you can see, absolutely no problem in there at all. It's all good. Put the hand in there, no problem. And the hole is down here, and the bar end is about here actually. So that's the first method, and both installed on the GS. I've got the BMW rally screen on my GS, and on full lock it just does touch the side of the screen using this quick install method, and no problems on the opposite lock. Method 2 then, if you know you're going to keep your handguard muffs on throughout the cold, wet winter months, then this might be a better option for you. Again, I've done both methods, and this method will take you about 4 minutes aside actually from start to finish. So what we have to do is remove the bar end weight. In my case, I've got a T8 bit in there to remove the bar end weight, and then a Torx T20 screwdriver to remove the screw there. Take the handguard off, keep that somewhere safe, and then pop the handguard muff on, and then put the screw back in the T8 bit. And then in my case, I'm going to do this up to a torque setting of 40 Newton meters, but check with your owner's manual or go on the internet and check. But in my case, it's 40 Newton meters, and both the left hand side and the right hand side installation, 4 minutes per side, no more than that. Very simple, but we are not going to be using the handguards. They will be kept somewhere safe for those cold, wet winter months. First off then, undo the bar end weight. And then remove the Torx T20 screw. I did actually put the Torx T20 screw back in when I had them on last week, just so I wouldn't lose it. That's the screw nice and secure. It doesn't have to be done up too tight. I couldn't be bothered to take this bracing bit off of the handguard because you've got to take the actual mirror off, and I couldn't be bothered, so I've just left that on there. And then simply feed the handguard muff over the switchgear, again being careful. Then you take your bar end weights, and it goes in like that. Obviously, take the bar end weights, and one bit on the inside, one bit on the outside, and fit the two together. Might just have to give it a bit of a waggle to make sure it goes in properly. And then take your, in my case, T8, tighten it up, and then just get the position right. So do the Velcro up and the Velcro straps. And when you're happy with the position of the handlebar muff, just torque it up to the correct setting. In my case, 40 Newton meters. There we go. It's all nice and secure. It is semi-rigid, so it's not going to collapse on you. And what you'll see is this method, which I think is a better method actually, folks, is that you've got certainly more room under here to get to the switches. So you've got more clearance. And again, you can see things through the top there, through the window, and you've certainly got easier access by removing the actual handguard itself. But this is semi-rigid, so it's not going to collapse on you. And you might just get a little bit of a ripple around here when you do the bar end weight up, but that's it. Looks good. And then you do the same for the left side. And there you go, you can see on the left side you've got all access to the switches. The only thing I will say is the front brake just touches the front here, but I've put the front wheel up, spun it, and it's not dragging at all. So it's just a little bit of give in the front brake, and the same with the clutch as well. The clutch lever is just touching the front here, but it doesn't have any effect on the operation of the controls. We can turn the handlebars full left, full right, and it doesn't cause any interference whatsoever, either on the tank or the windscreen. Okay folks, just a final word for myself then on the handlebar muffs from Tucano Urbano. I think they're really well made. So again, click on the Nippy Normans link in the description down below, and also the Tucano Urbano link to get a bit more information from them. Yeah, nicely well made. The only thing I will say is, if you're wondering why I didn't install the handlebar muffs with the hand guards on and putting the bar end weights through the hole in the side, basically tried it last week and it was just very tight, and it meant I had very restricted access to the switch gear on the left side and the right side, so that's why I didn't. But if you want to try it, you might find it a little bit easier, but it didn't work for me, sadly, so that's why I didn't use that method of fitting. And the only thing I will say is, when you're maneuvering the bike in and out your garage or that kind of thing in confined spaces, because of the semi-rigid construction, then on sort of kind of full lock, your elbow or your forearm does rub against the side here, so it just catches on that. So you're actually better to take one hand out, depending on which way you're turning the bike, one hand out, grab the end of the handlebar on the weight, and then just sort of maneuver it that way. That's what I found as the best way. Other than that, handlebar muffs from Tucano Urbano, very good. Check them out, Nippy Normans. As ever, ride safe, take care, cheerio, and I hope you found the video of some use to yourself if you're in the market for a set of these muffs. Bye bye.